What if I told you there isn't just one old money playbook? For generations, wealthy families in the East and the West quietly built fortunes using two very different wealth systems. One focused on individual ownership and calculated risk. The other prioritized family continuity, discipline, and preserving wealth across generations. In this video, we're going to compare both approaches, uncover what each one gets right, and show you how combining the best of both could completely change the way you build wealth. Hey, I'm Alexander Reed. For a long time, I thought there was only one way to build lasting wealth. But the more I studied wealthy families throughout history, the more I realized something surprising. There wasn't one playbook. Different wealth traditions solved the same problem in very different ways. Today, we're comparing two of the most influential approaches to see what each one gets right, and how you can combine the best of both to build your own family's future. Before we dive in, there's one important point to make. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that every wealthy family follows the same blueprint. They don't. Throughout history, different cultures developed different approaches to building and preserving wealth. Some prioritized growth and opportunity. Others prioritized stability and continuity. Both approaches have created extraordinary wealth. The real question is, what can we learn from each? Let's start with the wealth philosophy that many people in the West are more familiar with. Historically, Western wealth has often been built around the individual. The emphasis is on creating, investing, and owning. Start the business, buy the property, invest in productive assets. Take calculated risks. If you succeed, you build wealth that reflects your own vision and ambition. There's a reason so many of the world's largest companies were founded by entrepreneurs willing to bet on an idea before anyone else believed in it. This system rewards innovation. You can actually see this philosophy reflected throughout history. In many Western countries, success has often been closely tied to the idea of individual achievement. People are encouraged to build something of their own, whether that's a business, a patent, an investment portfolio, or a piece of property. Wealth becomes a reflection of initiative and innovation. That mindset has produced incredible breakthroughs. Entire industries have been created because someone was willing to take a risk that everyone else thought was too dangerous. But there's another side to that story. When wealth becomes closely connected to one person's success, it can also become vulnerable to one person's mistakes. A poor investment, an unexpected economic downturn, or a generation that lacks the same discipline can quickly undo decades of hard work. That's why creating wealth and preserving wealth often require completely different skill sets. It encourages ownership, and it creates enormous opportunities for wealth creation. But it also has a weakness. Because the focus is often on the individual, wealth can become dependent on one person's decisions. If the business fails, if investments go poorly, or if the next generation isn't prepared, fortunes can disappear surprisingly fast. History is full of families that built extraordinary wealth in one generation, only to lose it in the next. Now compare that with another long-standing wealth tradition found across many parts of Asia. Instead of asking, how can I build the biggest fortune? The question is often, how can this family still be financially secure 50 years from now? The focus shifts from individual success to family continuity. In many traditional Asian households, financial decisions have historically been viewed through a much wider lens. Buying a home, starting a business, or paying for education isn't always seen as an individual milestone. It's often considered something that benefits the entire family over the long term. That perspective naturally encourages patience. Instead of asking, what improves my lifestyle today? The question often becomes, what strengthens our family's future? Again, this isn't true of every family, and these traditions have changed over time. But historically, that long-term mindset has helped many families weather recessions, political change, and economic uncertainty. Perhaps that's because preserving stability can sometimes be just as valuable as pursuing rapid growth. It's a reminder that wealth isn't only measured by how much you accumulate. Sometimes it's measured by how much you manage to keep. Saving isn't viewed as something you do with leftover money. It's treated as protection. Children often grow up understanding that financial decisions affect more than one person. They're encouraged to think about parents, grandparents, siblings, and future generations. That mindset naturally creates patience. Instead of maximizing today's lifestyle, the priority is preserving tomorrow's opportunities. Neither philosophy is right or wrong. They're simply solving different problems. One is exceptional at creating wealth. The other is exceptional at preserving it. That difference becomes even more obvious when you look at savings and leverage. In many Western countries, debt is often viewed as a financial tool. Used wisely, borrowing can help someone buy rental property, expand a business, or invest in assets that generate greater returns over time. That's productive leverage. The key word is productive. The problem isn't debt itself. The problem is borrowing to consume instead of borrowing to create. On the other hand, many traditional Asian families have historically placed much greater emphasis on saving before spending. Financial security often comes before financial expansion. Large cash reserves, conservative investing, and avoiding unnecessary debt provide stability during uncertain times. The trade-off? Sometimes wealth grows more slowly, but it's also less likely to disappear because of one bad decision. And honestly, that's where I think this conversation gets really interesting. Because if you only follow one philosophy, you inherit its strengths and its weaknesses. If you only take risks, you may build wealth quickly, but struggle to keep it. If you only protect wealth, you may preserve what you have, but miss opportunities to grow it. The families that seem to thrive over multiple generations often understand both sides. They're willing to take calculated risks when opportunities make sense, but they also know when to protect what they've already built. They understand that creating wealth and preserving wealth are two completely different skills. One without the other rarely lasts. So what does that mean for the rest of us? The truth is, most of us don't need to choose one philosophy over the other. The modern world gives us access to opportunities that previous generations could never have imagined. We can invest globally, start businesses from our laptops, learn new skills online, and build multiple income streams throughout our lives. At the same time, economic uncertainty has reminded us why financial resilience still matters. Having savings, avoiding unnecessary debt, keeping a long-term perspective. Those ideas haven't become outdated. If anything, they've become more important. The goal isn't to imitate another culture. The goal is to recognize timeless principles wherever they appear and apply them to your own life. Because successful wealth builders tend to have one thing in common: they're lifelong students. They don't ask whose system is better. They ask, what can I learn from both? I think it means building a hybrid system. Build assets like many successful Western entrepreneurs. Own businesses. Invest consistently, develop valuable skills, but pair that with the long-term thinking found in many traditional Asian families. Live below your means. Protect your capital. Think in decades instead of months. And remember that your financial decisions affect more than just your own future. Even if you never inherit a dollar, you can still become the person who changes your family's financial story. Because generational wealth doesn't begin when someone leaves you money. It begins when someone creates better habits, better systems, and better decisions than the generation before. Maybe that person is you. If so, don't worry about copying one culture or another. Instead, study what has stood the test of time. Build wealth with courage. Protect it with discipline, and teach it with intention. Because that's how wealth stops being temporary and starts becoming a legacy. The biggest difference between families that build wealth and families that keep wealth isn't usually intelligence or income, it's perspective. One generation focuses on creating opportunities. The next focuses on protecting them. The strongest families learn to do both. When you combine the willingness to build with the wisdom to preserve, you're no longer chasing wealth for yourself alone. You're creating a foundation that can outlast you. Before you go, if you're serious about building lasting wealth, make sure you download my free Ultimate AI Wealth Resource Guide using the link in the description. It's packed with my favorite AI tools, books, communities, and resources to help you build assets, increase your productivity, and accelerate your journey to financial freedom. And if you enjoyed this comparison, you'll love the next video: the wealth systems old money families never share. We'll go even deeper into the timeless rules that wealthy families have quietly used for generations to protect and grow their wealth. Click the video on your screen, and I'll see you there.